The rain fell in slow, heavy sheets, each drop thudding against the tin roof like a warning from the sky. The old farmhouse sat at the end of a winding dirt road, surrounded by skeletal trees that swayed as if whispering secrets to one another. Inside, the dim kitchen light flickered as though it too feared the truth that lingered within these walls. Clara stood at the counter, her fingers trembling as she unwrapped the brittle, yellowed paper. Mama's handwriting curled across it in faded ink, the infamous family recipe that had been passed down for generations, a recipe that no one outside the bloodline had ever seen. But this was no ordinary recipe. Everyone in the town knew that when Mama baked, strange things happened. People swore the air around her oven felt heavier, that the aroma could make you remember things you had tried to forget. Some whispered that Mama's pies could heal a broken heart. Others said they could break one. Clara hadn't been back to the farmhouse in 12 years, not since that night. The night they buried the truth under the orchard tree. Now she was here in the same creaking kitchen, the same wooden floorboards that seemed to groan under the weight of secrets. And in her hand, the very recipe that had started it all. The paper smelled faintly of cinnamon and something else, metallic, sharp, almost like blood. Her father's voice came from the dining room, deep and gravelly, still carrying that authority that made even silence feel like an order. "You shouldn't be touching that, Clara. That's Mama's recipe." She turned slowly. Her father stood in the doorway, his eyes shadowed, his jaw tight. Behind him, her brother Samuel leaned against the wall, arms crossed, a smirk on his face that didn't quite reach his eyes. "It's just a recipe, Papa," Clara said, though her own voice didn't sound convinced. Samuel let out a dry laugh. "Is it? Then why did Mama make us promise never to read it aloud? Why did she keep it locked in that box with a key she wore around her neck every day?" Clara's hand tightened around the paper. "She's gone." "No, she can't keep secrets from us anymore." Her father stepped closer, his boots heavy on the old wood. "Some recipes are meant to be kept secret, some are meant to stay buried. Just like—" He stopped himself. "Just like what?" Clara demanded. The clock on the wall ticked louder. Somewhere in the house, a door creaked open on its own. A gust of cold wind slithered through the hallway, making the candle on the counter shiver. Samuel's smirk faded. "Just like what, Papa?" Their father's gaze darkened. "Just like your mother wanted." But Clara was already unfolding the paper, and as her eyes scanned the ingredients, she felt a strange pull in her chest, as if the words themselves were alive. Flour, sugar, butter, eggs, cinnamon, and then 1 teaspoon of— Her heart skipped. The next word was smeared, almost erased. But she could make out enough letters to know it wasn't something you could buy in a store. Samuel's voice was suddenly low. "You see it, don't you?" Clara's breath caught. "What does it mean?" Their father's voice was a whisper. "Now, it means you need to burn that paper before it burns you." Thunder shook the house, and then, somewhere in the walls, something started knocking. The knocking in the walls grew louder. Slow at first, then faster. Like someone trapped between the studs was pounding to get out. Clara froze, her eyes darting toward the sound. Samuel's smirk was gone entirely now, his face pale, his fists clenched. The paper in Clara's hand felt warmer than before. Almost hot. The smudged word on the recipe seemed to pulse faintly as though the ink itself breathed. Papa moved forward, snatching the paper from her hand with surprising force. "That's enough." His voice was sharp, but it trembled. Papa never trembled. Samuel stepped between them. "If she's old enough to come back here, she's old enough to know the truth." "Truth?" Clara echoed. "What truth?" Papa's eyes darted toward the corner of the kitchen, toward the pantry door. "Some things are better forgotten, Clara, just like Mama wanted." The knocking stopped. Silence draped over the room like a suffocating blanket, and then 3 soft knocks from inside the pantry. Clara's stomach turned to ice. She stepped toward the door. Papa blocked her. "Clara, no." But Samuel's hand shot out and yanked the pantry door open. A wave of cold air burst out, and with it, the smell of cinnamon. Sweet, warm, familiar. But beneath it, the sharp, metallic scent of something wrong. On the pantry floor sat an old cast iron pot. Inside was a thick, dark residue clinging to the bottom. The smell was stronger now, wrapping around Clara like an invisible hand. "That," Samuel said quietly, "is what Mama used for the final ingredient." Papa's jaw tightened. "Don't," Samuel ignored him. "Remember the night she died? The night she told us to stay in our rooms? The night we heard her singing in the kitchen until morning?" Clara's throat tightened. She remembered. Mama's voice, soft but low, repeating the same strange lullaby over and over, and then the scream. "She wasn't making dinner," Samuel said. "She was making something else." Papa's face darkened. "Stop talking, Samuel." Clara's heart pounded. What was she making? Samuel glanced at her, his eyes hollow. She wasn't cooking food. She was cooking a promise. Papa slammed the pantry door shut, the sound echoing through the house like a gunshot. "You don't understand," he growled. "Your mother made that recipe the night before your uncle disappeared. She made it the night before the fire took the barn, and she made it the night before you left, Clara." Clara's breath caught. "Are you saying—" "I'm saying," Papa interrupted, "that every time she baked from that paper, someone didn't come back." The lights flickered. The knocking in the walls started again, but this time it was everywhere. All around them, above, below. Samuel's voice was a whisper now. "She's here." The air grew heavy. The smell of cinnamon thickened until it was all Clara could taste. The kitchen light went out completely, leaving them in darkness, and then, from the shadows behind the pantry door, a voice, soft, gentle, loving. "Clara, honey, did you follow the recipe?" The sound of Mama's voice sliced through Clara's chest like a blade. Her legs weakened. Her hands shook uncontrollably. Papa's breathing grew ragged. "Don't answer her?" Samuel stepped forward, his tone defiant. "Why not? Isn't this what you've been hiding from us, that she never really left?" The voice giggled, warm and familiar, but tinged with something cold. "Oh, Samuel, you always were the curious one." Clara's eyes adjusted just enough to see the faintest movement in the dark corner. A shadow leaning forward. Papa reached for the matches on the counter, his fingers fumbling. "Get out of this kitchen." He barked. The voice turned sharper. "Don't you dare send them away. They're my children, my ingredients." The walls groaned as if the house itself leaned in closer. Clara grabbed Samuel's arm. "We need to leave." Samuel didn't move. His eyes were fixed on the pantry door, his breathing slow and steady, like he was listening to something only he could hear. Papa lit a match. The small flame revealed a figure in the pantry doorway. It was Mama, or what used to be Mama. Her skin was pale like uncooked dough, her eyes clouded but glinting with a strange light. Her apron was stained dark red. In her hands, she held the same cast iron pot from before, but now it was full. Steam rose from it, carrying that same intoxicating cinnamon scent. "Come," she whispered. "Taste. It's our family secret." Clara's stomach turned violently. She could see something floating in the thick mixture. Something that wasn't food. Something that looked like a human tooth. Papa stepped between them. "Don't take it." Mama tilted her head. "Still trying to keep them from me? You know the deal. You remember the promise." Samuel's lips parted. "What promise?" Papa's voice was low, almost breaking. The night your mother's first child died. She begged for a way to bring him back. She found it in that recipe. But every miracle takes something in return. Mama smiled. Life for life. Love for love. The knocking in the walls became deafening, a chorus of fists pounding from every direction. Clara's heart pounded. What happens if we don't take it? Daniel read the last line of his mother's recipe notebook, his hands cold. If you find this, they'll come for you next. A floorboard creaked behind him. He turned to see Uncle Robert in the doorway, smiling in a way that made his stomach twist. So, Robert said. Daniel set the recipe card on the counter. This ends tonight. Before Robert could move, the scent of vanilla and cinnamon filled the room. From the shadows, she stepped forward his mother, wearing her old apron, eyes cold as steel. Not tonight, she whispered.